What is the most popular genre? Sci-fi? Action? Horror? Contemporary Scandinavian noir. Okay, probably not that last one, but it's a good question. Let me ask you another one. Who is the highest selling author of all time? Agatha Christie. I was really surprised when I found this out, but she sold 4 billion books. I mean, wow. And every single one of them was developed around the same genre. So going back to that earlier question, what's the most popular genre? At one point in history, it was murder mystery. I mean, that's a weird thought. What today is such a relatively niche genre once dominated fiction, especially when in contemporary art forms, relatively it's nowhere to be seen. But what do I mean when I say murder mystery? Well, first of all, I think it can be split into 2 key further subgenres, the detective story and the whodunit. In this video, I mainly want to focus on the latter, specifically the whodunit model that Agatha Christie used, and well, for the most part, defined. The characteristics of these stories include a select cast of isolated characters, each with their own interesting, unique, and often incriminating backstories. Of course, a dead body that's been murdered in a weird and wonderful way. And one ingenious person who must solve the story as often mayhem and perhaps even further murders ensue. In terms of structure, the audience at the beginning of the story is given a group of suspects and told that the murderer is among them, and from there the audience must decide who they suspect. Now, many murder mysteries, such as Seven, I would never consider to be a whodunit. They have too much of a traditional narrative, and lack too many of those tropes. The same with most of the Sherlock catalogue. But I will say Sherlock's popularity and infamy are still massive reasons I think murder mysteries were once the biggest genre. But detective stories like these lack a key component that I believe makes whodunits truly brilliant: the interactive element. I mean, by its very nature, the genre encourages analysis and participation. The audience is invited to decode it. I mean, the title itself is a question. It's a puzzle. And this isn't so much of a thing in detective stories. In many, the audience has no chance of guessing who the murderer is. We just get to see the process of the people finding. Now, the best whodunits are the ones where people can disagree on who they think the murderer is before they're revealed. When different people get different suspicions and interpret their own meaning from the contents. And I love it. It's genius. And I think it contributed to its incredible popularity. Generally, with entertainment, the more interactive something is, the more immersive and fun it gets. And with the spread of literacy in the general public, as well as the affordability of paperbacks in the 20th century, around the time of Agatha Christie's reign, this meant that her particular brand of escapism was wonderful for the everyday citizen. So the genre is brilliant, but why isn't it around anymore? And we've come to the biggest problem with this subgenre. It has been overdone. With such a specific set of parameters you must follow with a whodunit, and the sheer number of stories that have been written and sold, to make a genuinely new and interesting, innovating, and intriguing story is borderline impossible. Enter Knives Out, one of the only contemporary, proper, unapologetic, full-on whodunits. In my opinion, it's managed to reignite the whole genre. The best way I can describe this film is original. And it proved that in the modern world, in the cinema format, it can still be done. Actually, new whodunits can still be made. Separate from any other franchise, separate from any other writer. Fascinating stories can still be produced. And most importantly, there's still an audience that will watch them and love them. And I suppose there's just that problem that, well, they're hard to make. And I think this is a beautiful problem. A blessing in disguise. The need for the stories to be truly original will force producers' hands into putting more effort than usual into creative writing. It's going to be hard, but I think the whodunit still has a lot more steam left in it. It really does have true potential to create really great stories. Its former success is evidence of that. We just need more stuff like Knives Out. More original content. Don't just remake old stuff like they're trying. I recently watched the new Tn The Nile film, and I thought it was good, but stories like that built the foundation of the genre, and so we've seen it before. It was too by the books, and with Knives Out setting the example, I think we're going to see a resurgence of the genre. Yes, maybe not to the same extent of popularity as Agatha Christie led it to, but trust me, the genre's not done yet. Now, before I go, I want to give you some of my favourite whodunit suggestions. Now, yep, of course, Knives Out. If you haven't seen it, I don't even want to say anything. Just watch it. 10 out of 10. Clue. Honestly, a fantastic film. One you may or may not have heard of. It's a murder mystery comedy parody. That's just delightful. And, I mean, come on, Tim Curry. 8 out of 10. Finally, and then there were none. Of course, this is no secret. It's Agatha Christie's most selling novel. It sold 100 million copies? What? But hear me out. I haven't read the book. But in 2015, it was made into a new series. How is no one talking about this? Honestly, alright, it's 3 episodes. It is unbelievable. Everything. Acting, cinematography, music, the story. Just, me and my family watched this in 2015 when it aired over 3 days. There were 8 of us. After watching the first episode, we each put £10 in a pile and then made our guesses for whom we thought the killer was. And it was some of the most fun I've ever had. It's probably my favourite miniseries. Actually, do you know what? I promise I will do a full video on this one day. But damn! Woof! I mean, just please watch it. Infinity out of 10.